Time now, though, for an update on the markets, thanks to our partners, Forsyth Barr. Zoe Wallis is with us, investment strategist. Good morning, Zoe. Good to see you.
Good morning, you too, Ryan.
Now, let's start with the AI bubble situation. We've got markets opening again, obviously, overnight, New Zealand time tonight. How did they end on Friday? What are you picking for this week?
Yeah, so look, I think markets took a bit of a breather last week. We've had a huge amount of enthusiasm and some pretty significant price gains in AI, and particularly, big tech names over the last year and the last couple of years in reality. I think markets are sort of taking a moment to reassess. Well, actually, we saw some decent reports coming out of reporting season for some of those big tech names. How is that going to go as we head forward? And I think just a bit of a pullback in terms of the level of enthusiasm and the level of euphoria. Obviously, there's a lot of articles and commentary out there talking about bubbles. I'm not sure that's particularly the best way to phrase it up. It's a bit binary, right? You're either in a bubble or you're not. And if you're in a bubble, there's this idea that it will burst at some point. What we're seeing is that, there's a lot of positive news built into some of these stock prices already, but there is also a world of investment options out there which aren't directly tied into AI tech.
This is the stuff that you guys were already across before we in the media started talking about it. Once we catch up, we tend to go big and start writing about bubbles every day. But you mentioned there's other stuff that you could be investing in. What other things should people have top of mind?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I think particularly when you look at an index level, what you've seen is that these companies are now dominating because they've just become so big, right? So, Microsoft hitting 4 trillion the other day in terms of market cap value. That just means they dominate things like what we would talk about often as the S&P 500 major equity index. But when you look outside of those sort of big tech names, there's a range of other companies, things like industrials, stuff that's exposed to the everyday consumer in the US, but also more globally as well. So a lot of companies that might be listed in the US actually also have exposure to broader international markets. So plenty of opportunities to look outside sort of the big, most commonly talked about tech stocks.
So what about the shutdown in the US? I saw that senators are working through the weekend to try and get a resolution, no resolution, and the Democrats still blaming the Republicans, vice versa, etc. No end in sight.
Yeah, we've hit the longest US shutdown we've actually seen, so sort of 40 days and counting. It's having quite a big impact, particularly around food aid and also US travel, with many airports now running on sort of bare bones staff. We're hoping that we see a resolution in coming days. Markets are starting to get a little bit more concerned about the broader impacts to GDP. And what this means when you've just got so little activity happening from the government sector at the moment is that you are likely to see the economy soften as a side effect of that. Big question about how much of a bounce back you get on the other side, though, as well.
Now,
it does also, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to move on very quickly to Australia. Unemployment, what we saw last month, what we're expecting for the one ahead.
Yeah, so we had a surprise lift in Aussie unemployment last month to 4.5% from 4.3% previously, so etching up not quite to New Zealand's 5.3%, but heading north from where it has been. That is expected to actually pull back slightly to 4.4% in this current release, so a little bit of an easing back. But it's important to keep in mind that the Reserve Bank of Australia does place more weight on the labour market data than we do here in New Zealand, at least directly.
What day are we getting? Is that Thursday this week, is it, Zoe?
Yes, I believe so.
All right, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. Zoe Wallis, investment strategist with Forsyth Barr, and we chat to them every Monday for a market update.